Come on. Here we go. 20 to 30.
20 to 30 what?
Years old.
Oh, years old.
Years old, 20 to 30. Thank you. If you're 30 to 40, stand.
I have a 17-year-old.
All right, you can sit. You can sit. Thank you.
17-year-old? Yeah.
40 to, I'm sorry, 30 to 40, right? Everybody looking around? Okay, young man. Now, let's see the 40 to 50.
Jerry, 40 to 50. You gotta sit down.
How old are you, Jerry? I said you 40 to 50.
We're heading to 50. Not yet.
No, not yet.
No.
58. No, it's 58.
Everybody observing? Percentages? Sit down. 50 to 60.
Now, Jerry, down! You know how to count.
I think they outnumbered a bunch, right? Okay, you sit.
I thought he was going to say
Now for the old man club, 60 to 70.
Go ahead!
I think the older men rock, right? I think the older men win.
70 to 80, we got one. You didn't mention it.
Wait.
John, 70 to 80.
70 and up.
70 to 80.
70 and 80.
I got married to the widow next door. She's been married 20 times before.
Wow, 70.
También, mi hermano. By the way, this is one of the four men that started the Young Lords movement. Heavy duty. Heavy duty. We're going to get to those. We're going to get to the groups. That's very important. The groups have been phenomenal, amazing. So my goal here is to get to the group. Before I start, I got to give you a selfish. I was on a fishing trip with my buddy Richard Sayers, and I never went on a fishing trip with my dad. And this man, Richard Sayers, which is with his eyes, the gentleness of a big man. And I said, Richard, you've been taking like Abel, Pastor Joe, all these guys, Richard, on this trip. You've even taken a couple of ladies from the church, Stephanie. And I hear so many great things. Can I go on a fishing trip with you? He looks at me and goes, sure, my brother. His eyes, he's so gentle. Sure, my brother, you can go. And I said, how much is it? He says, $230. I said, it got real right there, you know? So I said to him, okay. He says, give me a deposit when you get a chance of $100, when you get an opportunity. And then we'll go from there. So I gave him the $100. He gives me a couple of weeks, right? I missed him. I got him the $100. Then the day that we were going on the fishing trip, 3 o'clock in the morning, John drops me off, and I get to his beautiful big Yukon, right, the truck, and I'm ready to go in, and he goes, $130 is your balance. I'm sure. Gave me $130, and I was off. I was off on my first fishing trip. So let me sit down and just get to the main part of that fishing trip for the sake of time.
Yeah, hold it.
Yeah. Well, they sit me down because I was a newbie, so they said, you take the up first. So they put me in the chair on the boat, right? We're out there for about an hour. We're getting to the spot. So I put the rod out.
You're going to show them, right?
Oh, okay. I put the rod out, and they put me in a chair, and I'm there maybe about 5 minutes, and I start feeling something, right? So I don't know how much line he put out, maybe 250 feet, I don't know what it was. So here I go. So I think I'm doing this for about 8-9 minutes, and it's no big deal. I stop a little bit because I get a little tension, and I keep going. And any fishermen in the house? Okay, so you know what this is, right? So I'm going. Finally, I'm at that last, 8-10 minutes, and I'm there, and I'm finally now going like this, right? So as I go like this, the guy, there's me and 4 guys on the boat, and they all stop what they're doing to watch what I'm doing. So they go, you better bring that bad boy in. Like, in other words, don't even think about stopping. And here I am, I'm like the last maybe 5 or 6 minutes. I can't do this. So the guy, by the way, there's a father and son on the boat that's taking care of us. And the son looks back at me and he says, this is your time. You got to bring that sucker in. This is the time. So I'm like ready to say, take this. It's supposed to be helping me, right? Take this. I'm old. I haven't done a physical thing in a long time. But I didn't even know that I had all this. And I'm sweating. Wow. The sun is out. It's beautiful, right? July 28th or whatever it was. And I'm like, I finally brought the sucker in. So I'm very proud to say, I lifted him up. He was like 35 pounds. I got a hook. And my point in this story, I told Richard, my father was gentle like that, like you are. And you made me feel like I was your son. You made me feel wonderful. You made me feel like privileged. And my father's been gone he died in 1991. And I actually had 2 fathers. And before I get into this father, my second father, which I like to talk about, this is about like father, like son. Amen. How many have had a great time at the retreat? I want you to turn to the person on your left or your right, one person, and say, I might not be perfect, but Jesus thinks I'm to die for. Did everybody believe that? Yes. Okay. And here's what the fellows here give me. I want to thank Al, and I want to thank Carlos, and I want to thank Brother Jefferson, and I want to thank all the gentlemen that are in charge of the flawless gentlemen. You guys did a great job. And they gave me this. They gave me the pursuit of Christ-like manhood. And then it says in parentheses, manhood is not brutality. So this is found in 1 Timothy 6:11, where it says, but as for you, O man of God, he's talking to Timothy, flee these things. We're going to discuss that a little bit. Pursue righteousness, godliness, faith, love, steadfastness, and gentleness. So he's talking to his son in the faith, amen? Yeah. And just before we get into that, because we're going to get into some brutality. Anybody know anything about brutality?
Police brutality?
That's hard. Police brutality, right?
Yeah.
Henry knows a little bit about police brutality. Like father, like son. I don't know if anybody knows the story. But yeah, Henry would know that. But anyway, we had a brother Keith Thomas. And Keith Thomas impressed me one day. I was very impressed by a comment he made. He said, what you know about death, son? What you know about death? Right? He was a military man. He was in Vietnam. And he fought in a war. He was a paratrooper or a Green Beret, something really special. And he was in foxholes in the war. And he had guys dying on his left and guys dying on his right. And he would stay in the foxhole until the enemy would disappear. And then he would be able to get up. What you know about death, son? That's what he would say. And I had my second father. The gentleman married my mom, who took my mom away from my family when I was 15 years old. We're not going to get into that today. But my second dad was a military man. He fought in 3 wars. And this gentleman fought in the Second World War, 33 years. Second World War, Korean War. He was part of the famous 65th that came out of Puerto Rico. And then he fought, and then he ended off in Vietnam. He was a medic. And he was all but think he was about 5'7", 5'6". And he took my mom away from my dad. Took time. But this became my mother's husband for over 40 years. And this man, eventually, towards the end of his life with my mom, he would, in the late nights, my mom would say, he sees them. There would be German soldiers without teeth coming into the room. And he would say, there they are. There they are. And he would see them. And my mom would say, Joan, my mother used to call me Joan Rodriguez, ve esos soldados. He sees those soldiers coming in, ugly. And he was a medic, and what he would do is he would collect dog tags, or their, tags. And I hear that back in the day, they used to also take the dog tags and put them in the teeth, and then